It's going to be a little bit of an adjustment for you, because you say you like when you get criticized. That's lessened a little bit from what happened last year.
We make it very uncomfortable still, and sometimes it just makes you got to find other ways to create that discomfort. You know, we didn't have to do that last year. We had a lot of outside sources that would help create that discomfort and that challenge to them mentally. But we feel a lot more comfortable when we get to create those discomfortable things, and you know, so I know Coach does it to us, and it makes us grow, and we'll continue to do it to our guys.
Still a lot of pride in Darren Lee's development and the way you went to bat for him. I think somebody said he's the best player on the field in the title game, or there's a couple of games there when they're like, he's the. And that you had to keep hammering, Coach, to get him there.
Hey, we've made some good choices. We've had some bad ones too, but
you don't hit them all.
It's a part of the game, and obviously it's great when those things pan out and you see a kid mature and kind of grow up in front of your own eyes in sense of what we see on the football field, but even off the football field as well. So. The great thing is he's a great team guy too. He loves his teammates around him. He does a great job at helping those guys and motivating those guys. And I think that's one of the big things that you're going to hear hopefully our guys all talk about when they talk about the defense and the silver bullets. We want them to talk about the group. And it's hard at times. When they talk about the silver bullets, you hear them talk about Joey Bosa, and you hear them talk about Darren Lee, and they might talk about Von Bell, or instead of them talking about them as a unit. And I think that's the great things I think that we got from our, not just our leaders, but our great players. They believe in that, and we're going to continue to help them promote that.
Was that the top? What's the one thing when you came out here? Was anything missing from last year? You won the title. I mean, in terms of starting with a new defense, what do you have to see first?
Well, I think leadership. I think what we're missing is Curtis Grant. We're missing Durant Grant, and when Coach talks about there's some difference between committed guys and compelled guys, and those compelled guys are those ones that truly will sacrifice for their brothers. And I think you only know that once you get into those adverse situations. So we're going to try to do as much as we can to put them in those situations as early and as often as we can. But there's no pressure like 110,000 people. There's no pressure like being down or giving up something to see how they will handle it together.
Yeah, Raekwon said he's much more confident now making calls and things like that too. Have you seen a difference in him just in the first 3 days out here compared to a year ago?
I've seen a difference in him since maybe midway through the summer. And that's why Coach Mick is the best at what he does, because he's not just a strength coach. He recognizes some of those things, in the confidence level and the overconfidence level. Some guys, the greatest attribute they have is confidence, and some guys have the biggest downfall to that is overconfidence. And I think from about midsummer, where he was a little bit in that comfort zone, how many other guys are going to push me, this, that, and the other thing. From that point when Coach Mick grabbed him, then Coach Meyer grabbed him, then I grabbed him, all in succession, I think I've seen that maturity, that ability to be a true leader, to lead the silver bullets. I think he's got what it takes.
Darren Lee, there are a lot of guys that can run around and get to the ball, but he also finishes, it looks like, pretty well and stuff. Is that innate, or did you notice that about him even 4 or 5 years ago? You know what I mean, Luke?
You know what? I mean, you think you have some idea.
Yeah.
I think of what it is. It's the culture, and I think that's what you're really, really starting to see. And Coach talks about it all the time, but the culture really is showing up. And we talk about it. It's not something we put on the wall. It's something we put on film. And when you see those guys that live it and bleed it, and they put it on film, it becomes much more contagious. I don't know. There's very few guys I think that are legitimately, and I'll say is that John Simons are just born with it. And then there's some that obviously have it in them, and you got to bring it out, and you put them in those environments. And I think Darren is one of those guys that had it, put in the environment, and now he's a great example.
The ability to stop your offense, is that as big a challenge as you'll see all year? That's a pretty good yardstick, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we're going to go against a great offensive line every single day. Obviously, we're going to go against great quarterbacks, great wideouts. And I think that's one of those things that it's a testing to us. It builds our confidence. When we were kind of reshaping what we wanted to do last year, it was something that was important to us to be able to play against our own offense. When Coach always said, hey, you don't have to play against our offense. I said, yeah, we do, because we have to build confidence. And in order for our guys to go out there and gain confidence in what it is that we're doing, we got to have some success. So we're going to continue to do that, play against the best every single day, and it's going to help us build our confidence even more.
Luke, it was mentioned on Monday that Joshua could maybe fill in for Joey in that opener or throughout the season in some role at defensive line. What is it about him that would lend itself to that kind of move?
Well, I mean, I think we're going to find a way to get our best 11 guys in the field, and that's kind of the evaluation through camp, is to find a way to get those best 11 and who those best 11 guys are. The great thing of it is that if we kind of go that that route, it'd be something for Joshua that, in the long run might be something where he would play in the future. And I think that's kind of one of those ways that you sell them to him. You're always obviously making sure that it's about the team, but it's also, you're kind of pointing out the things that can be really beneficial to them. And he's one of those guys, like I said, he puts the team and the unit above himself, and he'll do whatever we need him to do. And he has great versatility, so it could be one of those options for us.
You're entertaining.
There are a couple of holes or questions, at least cornerback, the other defensive line. Where does that stand right now?
Well, I don't think we even see them as questions. I mean, guys that people have questions on because they haven't seen them play in front of 110,000 people. But I think we feel good about the guys we got. I mean, just like our guys got great confidence, we got great confidence in them as well. And I think that permeates through to them. When they know we got confidence in them, they go out there and play a little bit better. Play with more confidence, and I think we'll be in good shape.
Look, why does this program seem to, like, especially lately, seem to roll with adversity? I mean, almost to be fired up, inspired by it almost. I mean, last year, for example, and stuff. What is it about, you think, or for lack of another word, the culture here that inspires that?
You know what? It's kind of something that's pounded in your head every single day. And Coach Mick talks about it's called, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Yeah. We don't kind of go that way. It's called forceful adaptation. Okay, so sometimes you can lead a horse to water and you got to stick his head in there and make him drink. And when you put him in those situations every single day, become more accustomed to it. They almost start to like it. And I think that's one of those situations. And you've seen the growth. It starts in the weight room in the off season and things. But I think they actually enjoy the challenges and the adverse situations more than anything.
As a coaching staff, how do you guys change this camp? Change it from last year? Change it from January and February to make it different for a new experience?
That's coach's job. That's the great thing about it. The motivation and some of the stuff that you don't have to worry about as a coach. You take care of your unit. The head guys got the masters of all the motivations and change and those kinds of things to make sure there's discomfort for all of us. So that's one of those things that you don't have to put a whole lot of thought into. We're more focused on the unit of how we're going to challenge those guys.
All right.